Hey everybody, this is Kenny Cummins here of Chillin' with Kenny C right here on TMVCafe.com, bringing you entertainment to your ears. And joining me at this time, originally from Seattle, hence the shirt that reads Seattle, Washington. He is a recording artist, very talented guy now in Nashville. He has a latest single out just last week called Sun on My Brain. It is available on all streaming platforms. The man behind this musician mystique, he goes by the name of Dolour right here, right now. How's it going?
It's good. It's good to be chilling with Kenny C.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. It's been a while since I last chatted with you,
Yeah,
but I have been keeping up with you. Obviously, you've been featured on the Music Monday Jukebox with your Dollar tracks, and looks like I'm going to put "Song on My Brain" in there too. I'm
I
not sure if I played it yet. But I know I played majority of the recent ones.
yeah. No, I appreciate it. Super cool. It's good to reconnect. Last time we talked was when I was doing Solar Twin music, which that record just celebrated its sixth birthday yesterday. So it's been a minute.
Ooh, 6 years? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we probably talked, I don't know, maybe more like 5 years ago, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to believe.
Man, it has been a while.
Yeah,
Yikes.
yeah,
And this is my first time interviewing you as a solo act. So yeah, it's been a bit.
yeah.
But before we get to Dollar, before we get to the now, you mentioned 6 year anniversary of the Solo Twin project. Having a look back and reflect, man, how you feeling about the record now that it's 6 years old?
It kind of ended up being sort of the pivot record that sort of brought me back to Dolour, because Dolour was actually a project I had started back in Seattle back in my teens, and but by the time I had moved to Nashville, I was doing kind of rootsy stuff, and then Solar Twin kind of brought me back into kind of self-producing one-man band in the studio, just kind of going crazy. And that kind of just brought me right back to how I originally was making records back in the day in Seattle. And so it kind of just took me on a journey. So I sort of look at Solar Twin as this like sort of, odd little record that sort of just shifted my life around creatively and stuff.
Kind of a, what's the word I want to use?
It's like
Resurgence, something like that. Uh,
resurrection. Yeah.
Resurrection. Yeah. Uh, yeah, man. But I do remember the Solo Twin records. Very, very unique tunes. Kind of made me wish I started the Music Monday thing a long time ago. I literally started it just last year.
Mm.
I said all these years I've interviewed all these musicians in different genres, and just last year I started Music Monday Jukebox. Man, what if I would have did it a long time ago?
Oh, hey, it's
So,
never too late. I think it's a cool idea. I'm glad you're doing it.
so the music is on Mondays and Tuesdays is the talk, obviously. So now that we got to reminiscing, let's get into the now. Let's get into Dollar, because I have been paying attention to Dollar for the last year or two. And I'm like, I have to figure out this person's looks familiar or sounds familiar. And then
Yeah.
I read Shane. I'm thinking two separate people. Nah, it's the same person.
Yeah.
So, talk about how did Dollar came to be. You mentioned Solo Twin kind of led you into Dollar, but talk about as far as the solo side of things. How did what led you to this Dollar journey per se?
Yeah, well, it kind of happened just right before the pandemic in late 2019. I had kind of been starting to work on a second Solar Twin album, but kind of I had left like a handful of songs behind when I had originally abandoned Dolour back in Seattle, and suddenly those songs started just like kind of creeping back in, and I started thinking about them and starting to wonder if I could almost approach that project again as more of a producer versus just like trying to return to an old band or something like that, you know? And so and then right as I kind of got started on the record, The Royal We, the pandemic hit. And it kind of just made perfect sense that I was already kind of on a journey of like doing a one-man band record. And then I was in lockdown and couldn't put a band together if I wanted to, you know? So it kind of gave me a lot of focus during the pandemic when a lot of friends of mine were kind of losing their minds. I was, kind of thriving. I was just like, head down, working on music. And I put out the first Return to Dolour album in June of 2020. And the album was called The Royal We. And then as the pandemic just kept going, I just went right into another record and ended up putting out Televangelist in April of 2021. And then I wrapped up that year by doing another album that went back to the OG songs and kind of did new versions of them. And that album's called Origin Story. So within like a year and a half, I ended up having like 3 full-length albums out before I even had a chance to like play a live show or anything like that.
So that's definitely kind of thing that with the pandemic happening in 2020, we couldn't really do anything. Like right around March, it's when things started to get out of hand and we all had to stay home.
Right.
Um, unless we had essential needs. Um, and that was definitely a time when people can focus on things that they missed out on, or maybe work on a side hustle per se.
Right.
So I guess looking back at it, like it's really been 3, 4 years since the pandemic thing, and it put a lot into perspective of how life can be precious, and then we get hit with this virus, and it's like, man, like this is real. Like,
Yeah,
this.
I really felt lucky that this project just seemed to kind of give me exactly what I needed to sort of both, stay busy and stay creative, but also just like give me a focus and a purpose kind of throughout that. And I think it really like was exactly what I needed to like not go completely crazy,
Yeah,
during that.
absolutely, man. So with Dolour, it's a one-man band. Obviously, you write, you produce, you do the instruments, engineering. You're
Yeah.
literally doing every aspect of a musician. Like you literally do it all.
I'm doing the artwork and the music videos, and I mean, yeah, I've taken a lot more than than I should, but yeah, it's a lot. But you know what I love about that is like, when somebody receives the music, they know that there's no compromises being made. It's coming straight from the source, and so much music these days is made by committee. So many cooks in the kitchen and you'll see the songwriting credits and it'll be like 15 songwriters, and like you don't really know who's doing what. But, when people hear my music, they will know it's, 100% coming from me.
Yeah, that is mind-boggling. Like as far as the credits and things like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
because I mean, I kind of used to look into it, and I'm like, I don't know, but man, I'm like, I get it that music is a collective effort, and you need people to help put the pieces together, kind of like a puzzle. But it
Yeah.
is mind-boggling. Like if you look at the songwriting credits, and you have that many people. I like for a 3, 4 minute song, like
Right.
that's kind of insane.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know how people go through that. Maybe people want credit or something. I don't know, but I guess these are the days we're living in. Like, and again, music is collaborative thing. But is there ever such thing as being a bit too collaborative? Like, wait a minute, is this coming from you or is this coming from these songwriters? Like, what's up?
Yeah, and you know, there's nothing at all wrong with people collaborating. Like I've done a lot of collaborative projects. I've done a lot of co-writing with other artists, but for whatever reason, like with the Dolour stuff, I almost look at it as like doing a crossword puzzle. And you know, if you have somebody else answer the questions for you, it's like kind of cheating, you know. Like I feel like I sort of like the puzzle aspect of it, cracking the code with every song and figuring out what it needs or and so I get a lot of enjoyment just out of that process, you know, almost more than anything. It's just, you know, sort of, you know, climbing that Mount Everest or whatever, you know, doing it
Yeah,
yourself.
I think that what makes it very unique, that makes it intriguing, just trying to figure out what you want to go with this record or what you want to go with the song. And that's a nice segue. Son of My Brain. That is the latest Dolour single. Just came out just last week. It's available on all the streaming platforms.
And
So,
Bandcamp.
and Bandcamp.
Yeah.
So, and before I get to the next question, I have to give a big shout out to Bandcamp because the aforementioned pandemic, independent musicians like himself couldn't hit the road for
Right.
most of 2020. So what they did was like every first Friday of every month, they would put away their fees per se, and that 100% of purchases goes directly towards the artist. That had to be like very uplifting for you and all indie artists considering what transpired. Talk about Bandcamp doing their part to help out with the artists during the trying times.
Yeah, I mean that was such a blessing that they stepped up and did that, and they've kind of taken it away and brought it back a number of times now. But it seems like it's going to be part of their platform. If not every month, it's going to be part of their thing. And you know, I've been kind of like basing my releases around their Bandcamp Friday schedule. So our single that came out last Friday was a Bandcamp Friday just because you know again like sort of like how I like people knowing that the music's coming from me. I like people knowing that you know when they're supporting an artist that all that money is coming to the artist and not you know because there's so many different ways to listen to music these days but you don't really know it's harder to know I think for a fan like how do I best support an artist you know and Bandcamp Fridays are the best way because you know they waive most of their fees and so if you pay $1 for a track, you know, the artist gets most of that dollar, you know.
I do have a feeling that this is going to be a reoccurring thing for Bandcamp moving forward. It wasn't just during the pandemic. I feel like
Yeah.
this is something they're going to keep going.
Yeah.
They seen the results. They seen people really promoting their Bandcamp pages now, and
Mhm.
that yeah, props to Bandcamp. I
Yeah.
think I purchased a lot of music around that time. Um, Bandcamp, my collection looks huge because because of the pandemic. So I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna wait till every Friday, first Friday, and I'm gonna start buying some stuff. So
And it, you
that's
know,
pretty cool.
it's a great place too for physical merchandise. Like we did vinyl for the last couple albums and we even did cassettes and CDs and they just have a great forum that makes it easy to, you know, for people to purchase the stuff and for the artist to be able to like ship it out. Like they just have a good setup. You know, you can't do that really through Spotify or Apple Music, but you know, people that still want a physical representation of the album, Bandcamp is kind of the best place to do it.
Okay, so you got some CDs and you got some vinyl as well.
Yeah, yeah, we did pink vinyl for Televangelist and we did blue vinyl for Origin Story. And the Royal We was the first Dolour one, and I wasn't sure how it was gonna go, so I didn't do vinyl for that one. I just did CDs and I did cassettes. But it was kind of fun getting some cassettes again because I hadn't I hadn't made cassettes since like my first demos back in the 90s. So um, that was kind of nostalgic.
Yeah, and that's the key word, nostalgic. So it's a good way to go. There's people that's still into vinyl.
Yeah,
I've been hearing that vinyl sales are doing more better than album sales, at least in recent memory. So
doing better
you,
than CD sales.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I
So
think yeah, vinyl's going up, CDs are going down, so they're probably like meeting in the middle right now or something, you know. But
yeah,
um,
so shout out to the vinyl community, man. Y'all
yeah,
making a comeback right now.
yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Well, you know, if you're
So
gonna get a physical version, I mean, there's nothing beats the big artwork and like, you know, especially now with like you can do colored vinyl and stuff. Like I have fun with that stuff. And you know, it's just a great collector's item. And you can still stream the album anywhere you want, but you know, you'll have a physical version and I, you know, sign them if people want it signed and all that kind of stuff. And I even numbered them for a while. So the first 100 or so are numbered, but um that was hard to
yeah.
keep up with though.
So Son of My Brain,
Yes.
latest single from Dolour. Talk about talk about how that song came to be, and what led you to having it as the latest single.
Well, so Sun on My Brain is now the sixth song that I've released in a series of singles leading up to the next record. So this is probably the last standalone single before I set up like a pre-order for the full album. And it's essentially the song is about, you know, in a lot of ways, it's kind of about how I've been living my life since the pandemic of sort of just like clocking in, clocking out, like not getting out much, you know, like needing a vacation the way we all do. And you know, kind of dreaming about, you know, getting out to a beach, getting out to the sun and kind of trying to break the monotony of just like going to work, going home, going to bed, you know, that whole thing. The writing process itself was probably about 4 or 5 months of sort of finding what the song was about. It kept kind of splitting off into other songs, and it ended up going in a million different directions. But then once I kind of honed in on, I want to feel the sun on my brain, it felt like there was a real energy behind that idea, and it definitely is something that you know my wife and I are always saying like we need to we need to get out of town, we need to plan a trip, we need to do something and so it was pretty easy once I kind of knew that was the path.
Yeah, so I've heard the song. I appreciate you giving me a sneak peek of it
Yeah,
before its release. So yeah, I have been listening to the Dollar tracks as I've already mentioned. I've also have played it on my Music Monday series. Um, I think I play it through the pop playlist.
yeah,
It's pretty incredible stuff that you got here. So obviously following your music since the Solar Twin days. So this is a very unique sound that you got going with Dollar, especially with you. This is literally all you know, one man band man
yeah,
with this music. So I think it's pretty cool. And the cover, it's got ice cream
yeah.
on the floor, ice cream cone with the pink strawberry. Is there any story behind the cover with the ice cream cone?
Well, you know, just tying in, I guess the sun maybe melted the ice cream. I did a whole music video, a lyric video for the song that's all just ice cream melting and in oozing out, and it just kind of seemed like a good theme to go with. You know, I don't know, sunshine, ice cream, drippy mess, whatever, you know. There's not too much of a deeper meaning to it, but I'm sure we could make up something. But
So got the lyric video for Sort of My Brain as well. You can check that out
YouTube,
on
yep.
YouTube channel under Dolour. That's Dolur. Dolour. I have a feeling like when I was going through my playlist stuff, I don't know if I typed Shane or I typed Dolour. I'm looking back at it, and I'm glad you caught me on the spelling of Dolour. I think
I,
I
I've seen
spelled
you
it
spell it a few different ways, but hey, I dig it, man.
I
You
said,
know.
as long as he knows that he's in there, then I
Oh
guess
yeah.
that's good.
No, you're
Uh,
all good, man.
so
Spelling's overrated, and Dolour is a weird word, and like it's one of those things where I've had the band name now since I was about like 16. So it means like pain and suffering, or something. So it doesn't feel exactly like the kind of name that represents this like melodic pop music I'm making. But in a way, maybe it's like what I'm battling to get there, um, battle that Dolour with some sunshine pop, I don't know.
so speaking of that, obviously Dolour is a lot different from Solar Twin. It's definitely some differences,
Yeah.
sound per se. Who would you consider some of your influences as it pertains to Dolour, musical influences?
Yeah, I mean with Delore, a lot of like The Cure and New Order and like 80s new wave kind of stuff, but then of course also like Beatles, Beach Boys, um classic pop kind of music, but I mean I'll pull from anything. I love, so much different types of music, and it all seems to kind of feed in there, um but I think, I mean, even like early Weezer for sure would be in the mix somewhere. I mean, there's I guess like there's some more obvious ones, but let me think about Son of My Brain. I mean, it you got me on the spot. It's hard sometimes to even like think of all the different influences that come in, but I mean, I think like the tried and true classic influences would be stuff like uh Beatles, Beach Boys, early Wilco, the Flaming Lips, Weezer, and yeah, I mean, modern bands that maybe would be kind of in the same world would be like Tame Impala or Cage the Elephant, and stuff like that. But uh yeah, I'm drawing a blank now.
Now, you brought some names there.
What do you hear? I mean, what?
I definitely hear some Weezer esque in the music,
Yeah.
and that was one of the highlights of my year. I
Mm,
went to a festival in Lexington, Kentucky, which is where I reside,
yeah.
and they had a festival mostly known for like country, bluegrass, Americana type of music,
Okay.
and then they put Weezer in there. I'm like, wait a minute, you put Weezer with this different crop of genres. I'm excited to see them, and when I saw them, felt like I was in the '90s again. I was like,
Yeah.
they were definitely one of the best performances of that weekend.
Oh
Um,
wow, cool.
they were truly incredible. They've been around for a very, very long time,
Yeah.
and they still got it. They still just fun stuff. I like Cage the Elephant. Very, very underrated. Um,
They're a Kentucky
just
band, I believe.
yeah, in Kentucky. I didn't even know that until you just said it.
I
I
think they're from
mean,
Bowling Green. Yeah.
Bowling Green. Okay, that's about 2, 3 hours from where I'm at. So
Okay.
I
Okay.
did. I've heard them. I've heard their songs. I didn't even know they were Kentucky.
I
So
believe so. Yeah.
so yeah, that's pretty dope. So I'm
But
joined with Dolour, with Shane, aka Dolour. Son of My Brains, the Dolour's latest single just came out just last week. And as he pointed out, there's a full-length Dolour project on the way. So keep an eye on that. This will be the last single before the full-length project comes out. So go check it out. And there's some other awesome tracks that Dolour has on the platforms, and I actually have them in front of me. I think one of my favorites is the moves like Miyagi.
Yeah.
The come, I put that on the IG story. I was looking for Son
Yeah.
of My Brain
Yeah, it's
for
not
the
up
story.
there.
It's
Yeah.
not up there, so I said
Yeah.
let's go with moves like Miyagi.
Yeah, that's
Come
part of
back, yeah.
yeah. That's part of the new project of songs. Yeah. Yeah. Comeback Kid, moves like Miyagi. Yeah.
And when the world stops ending, have I finally gone insane?
Yep.
Everything I need. All
Yep.
those songs from Dolour. They are not through Shane's name, but through Dolour, just for clarification, obviously. So go check it out. All those songs, including Son of My Brain, is available on all the streaming platforms. And check him out on social media under Dolour, Dollar Music, Facebook, Instagram. We're still calling it Twitter. I don't care what anybody says. We're not calling it X. We're calling it Twitter. No matter how much it's been revamped, we're calling it Twitter. I just,
I'm with you.
yeah. So, but man, it's great to chat with you, man. Yeah, you are right. It's like the first time in 5, 6 years since we did an interview.
Been a long
So
time.
yeah, it's been a long time.
Great to
But
catch up, Kenny.
great to catch up with you as well, man. Great to because I'm doing the Zoom interviews now, and people tend to like it. I like it as well. And I have to, I actually thank the pandemic for giving me other ways to connect. This is one of those things that I was doing the Zoom thing. I
Yep.
was a little cam shy doing these interviews at first, but I think it's pretty cool now because it's a unique way to chat, and so it's pretty cool. Um,
Yeah, you're a pro now, Kenny.
yeah. Whew, it's a lot of work though. It's a lot. Now I'm jealous of your mic. I need to get me one of those
Yeah.
mics. Get
Does
it.
it sound good in the headphones?
Oh, it sounds real good. It
Mm.
sounds real good, man. You sound like you could do a podcast right now if you wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I need to buy me one of those mics. Maybe I'll ask my parents
Well,
for
I'm just in
Christmas.
my studio right now, so all my stuff is in here, and this is the mic that I recorded "Son on My Brain" with. So
Oh,
here it is.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
So giving us some inside information
that's right.
behind the
That's right.
single "Son of My Brain," available on all the streaming platforms. Got the piano, got all the guitars, basses, got the
Yep.
drums.
Yep.
This is his musical sanctuary right here.
That's right. I call it my dojo.
The dojo, the musical
Yeah.
dojo. That'll work. Uh, Great chatting with you. And thank you so much for being back on the show, and very proud of your musical journey that you have taken, and that you have so much good going with Dolour. And I'm looking forward to this full length project. And I think we should chat again once
Absolutely.
this project. It won't be another 6 years before, I promise you that. Uh,
Kenny, it was my pleasure, and yeah, it means so much every time I see you play a track, and I hope this reaches some folks, and I appreciate you having me on.
Appreciate you, man. You have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right, you too, Kenny. Take
All
care,
right.
buddy.
All right.